Philae is a popular temple site located just south of Aswan City. In 1902, the Aswan Low Dam was completed on the Nile River, and this threatened to submerge many ancient landmarks, including the temple complex of Philae. The temples had been practically intact since the ancient days, but with inundation, the situation worsened, and in the 1960s, the island was submerged up to a third of the building's heights all year round. In 1960, UNESCO started a multinational project to try to save the temples from the destructive effect of the waters of the Nile. A large cofferdam was built, constructed of 2 rows of steel plates, between which 1 million cubic meters of sand was tipped. Next, the monuments were cleaned and measured. Then every building was dismantled, some into over 40,000 units, and transported to the nearby island of Agilkia, situated on higher ground some 1,600 feet away. The transfer and reassembly itself took place between 1977 and 1980. Philae was the site of the last known inscription in Egyptian hieroglyphs, written in 394, and the last known Demotic inscription, written in 452. Today the island is reached by boat only, departing from the docks adjacent to the low dam, with hundreds of small craft shuttling tourists to and from the island daily during the peak season. We scheduled our visit at sunrise to beat the crowds in the midday heat, which soars to over 110 degrees in the summer months. Navigating the lake below the low dam towards Philae at dawn offers a most picturesque and dramatic viewing experience, with the towers and the columns on the island glowing in the light of the rising sun as they emerge from the mist of the lake. Arriving at a modest floating dock on the southwest tip of the island, one ascends a short stone staircase into the visitor checkpoint to negotiate their way through the X-ray and metal detector machines and submit their ticket to the site. Entering the temple precinct through the double colonnade outer court, one is struck by the well-preserved condition of the structures. The column capitals on the east colonnade are carved individually to represent various forms of palm branches, lotus flowers, and papyrus plants, with no two alike. The first, or outer, pylon, 150 by 60 feet high, is covered with a representation of Ptolemy VIII subjugating and smiting enemies of the gods, with figures representing Isis, Hathor, and Horus looking on. A pair of lion sphinxes guard the entrance, and originally a pair of granite obelisks flanked them. One was broken into pieces in antiquity, and its twin was removed and transported to Britain by Giovanni Belzoni in 1818 for William John Banks, who used it to decorate his estate gardens. The second, or inner pylon, is 105 feet by 40 feet high. The eastern tower bears depictions of Ptolemy XII standing before Amun, Mut, and other gods. At the west side of the forecourt fronting the second pylon, the Mamasi, or birthing house, features a small colonnade-fronted shrine with representations of Hathor above the column capitals, which represent sistrums. To the right of the entrance, a granite monolith that was part of the bedrock of the original site was carved into a stele on which Ptolemy VI and his queen Cleopatra stand before Isis and Horus. A small hypostyle hall lies behind the second pylon, with a central passage proceeding to the sanctuary at the rear, bounded by vestibules that served as library, incense rooms, celebration stores, and changing rooms for priests. The sanctuary, or Holy of Holies, is completely covered with inscriptions and features a red granite altar at its center. In 2007, I visited Philae with John Anthony West and inadvertently experienced a powerful mystical encounter in this chamber in his company that galvanized my interest in ancient Egyptian sites. Although I have returned several times, I have not experienced a repetition of this event. As part of my investigations into infrasound signatures in the temples and monuments of Egypt, I collected infrasound samples at 6 different locations in and around the central temple. Unlike all the other temple sites I have sampled, infrasound was consistently and pervasively present everywhere at Philae. I surmise that this is the result of the dismantling and reassembly process, where the original foundations were left behind and the entire complex was placed evenly on the bedrock of the granite outcropping that constitutes the island of El Gilkia, thus negating any possible comparisons with other original structures that we sampled. Philae retained significance as a Christian center even after its closure as a pagan site. 5 of its temples were converted into churches, including the Temple of Isis, and 2 purpose-built churches were constructed on the north side of the island. Both early Christians and Coptic sects were responsible for defacing and destroying a large amount of wall reliefs and hieroglyphs, motivated by a desire to gain virtue from the destruction of pagan works to curry favor in the Byzantine court. Traditional worship at Philae appears to have survived into the 5th century, despite anti-pagan persecutions of that time. According to the 6th century historian Procopius, the temple was closed officially in 537 by the order of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I. This event is considered to mark the end of ancient Egyptian religion. To the east of the temple structures is an open area containing remnants from the relocation project, featuring a huge millstone fabricated from red granite, probably a relic from the later Ptolemaic era. A bit further east are the ruins of a small temple dedicated to Hathor, and to the south of this is an unfinished celebration pavilion attributed to the Emperor Trajan, circa 100. The original site of the temple is visible from the island, lying almost due east, and after departing Philae, we decided to explore the area by boat, inspecting the remains of the cofferdam. The water here is roughly 20 feet deep currently. Nearby is a set of very large semi-submerged granite monoliths that bear cartouches and inscriptions. On the shore directly to the south of the old site lies a stone gateway with stairs, and the tops of a few columns can be seen in the vegetation behind it, a tantalizing sight, but the boat operator declined to attempt to moor there, and we were unable to explore it. So we circled back and made our way across the lake back to the Low Dam and Aswan City.